guide to all the most straightforward lines down the Upper Tryweryn, as well as good challenge moves and play spots. See your launch in at the top, just under this weird bridge thing. You can put in where the raft's put in if you want an easier start. And then there's a couple of 100 meters of flat water until you get to a corner, bending to the left. Once you've passed the concrete and wood on the left hand side, it starts to pick up a bit. You've got a long series of eddies that are quite straightforward to catch and a really good training ground to build up for the rest of the day. There are lots of combinations to do moving from left to right side, ferrying or doing S-turns. This is the easiest bit of the river, and so some people do a few laps of this 100-meter section before carrying on downstream. This little stretch finishes with a boof on the right, or go down the tongue on the left if you want to keep it simple. When you see this little building on the left-hand side, it's about to step up again. Things start to pick up with about 100 meters of faster rapids. Starting towards the right-hand bank, follow the main tongue towards the left-hand side. Stay left for a few more meters and then let yourself drift into the middle and paddle your way down to the bottom if you want to keep the line easy. The most interesting part of this to me is the first little bit which goes past a rock called Bird's Table. You can take an eddy on the right, you can boof into the eddy on the left, and then there are a couple of ferry moves that you can make from side to side that are quite a good challenge too. The most popular challenge move is getting from the top eddy on river left into the tight eddy on river right just below it. The key is to get yourself into the flow but immediately let your bow drop so that it becomes a case of eddying in as normal rather than trying to ferry into a really tight space. Moving on from here, the pace picks up and you've got lots of eddies on either side and a few holes that you can boof if you want to. Nothing's too retentive and everything can be run straight down the middle with very little effort if you just want to keep it nice and easy. Try and eddy out in the big eddy on the left just here. Watch as a bunch of rafters come down with no idea that they're being guided by a one-bladed world champion. Just downstream from this faster section is a rock that people like to boof off called Everest. Then you've got a slightly shallow little bit where I'd suggest trying to get over to the left hand side and catching an eddy, because the wave here is a really nice surf. It doesn't look like much, but it's fast and it holds a boat nicely. Moving on downstream from this, it's quite straightforward for a little while. You've got a couple of 100 meters where you're just keeping in the current and trying not to get stuck on rocks. Things will start to pick up again a little bit, and then you'll see this big space on the left hand side which signifies that round the corner is Ski Jump Rapid, one of the biggest rapids on the section. There's a chunky hole just left of center at the bottom, but I find the easiest way to avoid this is by getting onto the foam pile on the top left at the first wave and then moving over to the right hand side where it's nice and wide open. The racing line is actually down the left hand side, just clipping the edge of the sticky hole. While this seems like a big move, it's actually really satisfying and incredibly smooth. There's also a fun challenge eddy on the right hand side halfway down this rapid, and then you can actually surf into the first wave, which is a kind of strange diagonal surf. Just downstream from this is a very small rapid, but I suggest catching the eddy on the left because it's a fun surf and you can sometimes play chicken with rafts. Just downstream again is a chunkier feature just under a bridge. The easy line is down the right hand side where there's a flushy tongue on the furthest point. But if you want, you can boof into the left, plug the hole or do whatever you want. It's actually quite flushy. If you get into the eddy on the right, you can paddle in but it's actually harder work to stay in the feature than it is to get out. Just after that, you've got about another 100 meters of drifting until you get to a right bend, and you'll be able to see the cafe on the left hand side. Go into an eddy on the right hand side here, and try not to get squashed by rafts. There is an eddy above it on the left or right hand side where you can look to see if a raft is coming. This feature is called Cafe Wave, and it's actually a really good fun play spot. There's a wave on the left hand side or a sticky hole on the right hand side where you can practice your side surfing and trying to do spins. There's eddy service on both sides where you can watch raft guides try and waterboard their clients. It's actually a really fun play spot, and it's quite tricky, so you can do a lot of learning here. If you go over, roll up quick, because just round the corner is the next rapid, which I think is called Fingers. This is a great place to get out and stop if you want a snack, or don't get out and still have a snack. There's a cafe here serving nice food. The easiest line down this next bit is actually up against the right hand wall. Even though it looks like a strange feature, on the right hand side you just skip through easily. You can also just plug this feature and it's fine. Then you want to generally head towards the left and stay on the left down the last bit of rapid on the upper section. Go into the eddy and disrupt a kids slalom competition, and then try and get out before the raft squashes you again. Head up these stairs and back up towards the centre that's right over there, which is where you'll find the cafe, photos, changing rooms, and a van with a trailer waiting to take boats back up to the top. If you want to add a couple of rapids right at the very top, then look for this gate at the side of the very top car park, and you can add a couple of extra rapids. I hear this little feature is good for something called freestyle. If you've enjoyed this video and you want to see more river guides or other edits or just general kayaking videos, then check out my channel. There's a whole load more from around the world.